Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll talk about confirmation bias and belief perseverance. In the last video, we discussed the pitfalls of relying on personal experience to understand human nature. Once formed, these beliefs are incredibly resistant to change. Confirmation bias is one reason why. Confirmation bias is the preference for information that supports our pre-existing beliefs. Confirmation bias can take a variety of forms. One is partially fueled by our preferences for similar others. As birds of a feather flock, we create echo chambers of like-minded individuals in which we surround ourselves with people who repeat back our own ideas and theories. People tend to seek out information that supports their beliefs. Google has even built this into their algorithms so that people are satisfied with their search results. People seek out news media that is consistent with their political leaning. Liberals watch MSNBC and conservatives watch Fox News with little crossover or shared viewership. We create these insulated silos of information and don't expose ourselves to dissent or differing opinions. The problem is that we take social proof as evidence for the validity of our beliefs. We think, well, my beliefs are correct because everyone agrees with me, when really it's just everyone that we encounter agrees. So you may be thinking, what's up with the rooster? The story goes that a rooster adamantly argued that he caused the sun to rise. And when people disagreed with him, he said, hey, I have a lifetime of evidence to support this argument. Every single morning when I wake up, it's dark, and then I crow and the sun rises. So how can you argue with this personal experience as a lifetime of everyday confirmation of my belief that I caused the sun to rise? Well, of course, we know that our rooster needs to seek out disconfirming evidence. One morning, he needs to sleep in and see if the sun rises anyway without him. So just like a rooster, we have to open ourselves up to disconfirming evidence to truly test our ideas. That's where the scientific method with kind of more objective, systematic techniques can help to open us up to disconfirming evidence. So confirmation bias can also take the form of biased or motivated information processing. When we encounter disconfirming evidence, we tend to process it differently. Think about sports fans. When your team wins, it's irrefutable evidence that your team is superior. They won because they're the best. When your team loses, is that evidence that your team is inferior? And many of you are saying, well, of course not. The rest were clearly biased or incompetent, and that's why my team lost. So your belief in your team's greatness perseveres despite evidence to the contrary because you're able to engage in this motivated information processing. So winning is evidence of your team being great, but losing is not evidence to the contrary. Right? And you may be wondering, who is this random person in the Cowboys toboggan? That is my brother, and he is a lifelong Cowboys fan. That is his team. It's the only team that he follows. He loves them. His son has a Cowboys-themed nursery, and he maintains this belief that the Cowboys are the greatest team of all time in the world. And some of you may be wondering, well, how is he able to maintain that belief despite what some of us would argue is, 20 years of evidence to the contrary? And he's able to do so through this motivated processing. right? Just as many sports fans too. In fact, there was one time when we were all together, I believe it was Thanksgiving or some holiday, and my mom, as a non-sports fan, made kind of an offhand comment of oh, didn't the Cowboys get beat really bad last week? And my brother stops, like stone face, as serious as can be. He looks at my mom and he says, "The Cowboys don't get beat. It's just that sometimes they don't win." And so, of course, me as a non-sports fan, my mom, we're not really able to like grasp this train of thought to think like, what does that mean? What's the difference here? But it's one way that he's able to maintain his support and belief in his favorite team. So that is part of my family. I don't mean to offend any of my Cowboys fans out there. I love them too on behalf of my brother. So I am there with you, cheering for them. But we can see that individuals in a variety of ways may engage in the confirmation bias. They may selectively expose themselves to belief consistent information. They may be more sensitive to that information, and they may engage in motivated information processing that allows them to maintain beliefs even in the face of contradictory evidence.